Glad to have you back. It's the Business Daily right here on Trust Television. Now we go into our discussion. In its New Year message, the Nigerian Association of Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NACCIMA, said the 2024 economic performance was unsatisfactory for private sector, calling for reforms to address imbalances strengthening the private sector in the country. According to them, private sector is shrinking at the least massive running costs, deficit financing, loans, wobbling naira as a very big high orders. And they went on to say that you cannot tax dead companies. That's a very big statement there coming from NACCIMA. I have joining me to discuss this issue there the Vice President NACCIMA and of course the Managing Director Dalas Inland Dry Port, Dr. Ahmad Rabiu. He joins me virtually from Kano. Good morning, Doctor.
Thank you for having me, and God bless. Thank you so much.
All right, let's start by assessing the reforms of this government and how is it impacting on the businesses. Of course, you are a businessman. How are you feeling the effect by you and your colleagues?
Thank you so very much. Our national president, Otumba Dele Kevin Oye, had made some remarks in the light of what you said in your opening statement. The fact is, fiscal policy reviews are always very relevant to business survival. Whenever government is to introduce any new policy, there is need, importantly, to consult with relevant stakeholders and find out what would be the best thing that government could do to provide a transitional arrangement that will reduce the stress that new policy would cause. Now, before the policies came, we were already in different and when they came in, they introduced new forms of difficulties. All that we needed was for government to, in the same vein, say now that we are bringing some hardship, let us put some transitional arrangement that will be secured based on conversations with appropriate real stakeholders. So, but that was what was not done. And that is what ought to have been done. And that is what we canvass for, that going forward, anytime any policy, government has to, it's always using fiscal policy on what to collect and in expenditure in order to have some positive impact on the economy. So we know the intention of government is positive, is good. It has to be looking at what can it collect and how does it disburse it, to which sector, how does it encourage or discourage growth in this sector, in different sectors, in order for the economy to be better and for employment to be created and for our GDP to grow and for government to be able to continue to do what will improve the societal well-being, providing security, providing so many things. So we have really found ourselves, before the government came in, there were grave difficulties, a lot, all over. And then when it came in, it introduced policies that also brought about. I had the privilege of being on the committee for the national minimum wage, and the 27 persons that was, and we discussed, and part of what we said was largely the issue of reliefs being provided. It is when you engage the real stakeholders that you can come up to say this reliefs could, in transition, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, provide or help improve and make the environment.
Hello, doctor, are you there? Hello, doctor. We seem to be having some technical. Okay, I think doctor is back. Yeah, we seem to be having some technical challenges there with regards to network. We hope to get doctor back to continue along his thought there. Of course, we're looking at issues around the effect of government reforms on the business environment, and we're speaking to Dr. Ahmad Rabiu. He is the National Vice President of NACCIMA and, of course, the Managing Director of Dalas Inland Dry Port in Kano. He is also the President Network of Practicing Non-Oil Exporters of Nigeria. There we hope to get him back to continue along his thought there. So we'll take a very short break. When we come back, we hope we'll have a doctor reconnect with us. Don't go away. Hello, Doctor. Glad to have you back. We lost you momentarily there. Continue along your thoughts.
Thank you so very much. So those are the issues whenever a government has to change a fiscal policy. Oh goodness. You are hearing me well?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's echoing back. Whenever a government has to change a fiscal policy, it is important to engage relevant stakeholders and arrange with to the understanding of the stakeholders. First, government attention is good, and some of the laws really are overdue. What has happened itself on the tax, particularly the last reform project, that is the bill on tax reform, is a very good thing that is desired by the business community, because in it we have one legal document for all taxes, and it will enable us to plan appropriately for future operations. This is the beginning of the year. It has not yet been passed. Our budget for this year is on operation. When eventually it is passed, we will definitely have to review our projection for this year. And of course, the beautiful thing about it is that comfort that you will not have any knock, anybody to ask you for any tax that you never knew of. Because presently there are almost 20 different laws on taxation, different types, even at the federal level. And at the state and local government are limited. So if this can come, our foreign direct investors will be comforted. They will see the document and they will never receive any reply, any surprise of any document coming up to look, pay this new tax or pay this tax.
All right.
Because you be able to know, to get all that currently what we have.
All right.
So what we are saying is really the discomfort has been more of the absence of a transitional arrangement. What has been provided in the bill is not a transitional amendment. What we are seeking here is a transitional clause to say, from this time, 1st January 2025, to whatever time that will be mentioned, things remain as they were, or where there are changes to be effective, what will be the relief that will be provided transitionally.
Indeed, since you've already spoken about you brought in the issue of tax reform bills, let's go in there quickly. You've also spoken about it quite a whole lot of time, but recently there is already a position that has been taken by the governors. I mean, what's your reaction to that new position taken by the governors? Now, it's a proposal though before the federal government.
Yes, I think we, on account of that, particularly we also are with them. Because we are looking at the stress already in the disposable income of the citizenry. What they came to address, particularly on the sharing issue, and they are right. That is why we said in the lawmaking, quite a number of stakeholders will appear before the National Assembly to accept, encourage, comment, and or to complain and seek amendment of certain provisions. That is the normal process, and give justification why some of the provisions in the bill should not pass, and why some of them should be amended, and why some things perhaps should be added. This is a right that every Nigerian has, and the lawmakers are in that process. So what they have done, they have followed it administratively because it is an executive bill. Their concurrence at the level of the governors and the presidency is very good for everybody because it saves the time. But I'm expecting that the state governors will appear before the assembly with their representation as to what they accept, what they do not accept, and give justification on why the position they seek should be taken. And the Labour will come, the Labour will say, we accept this, we do not accept this, we recommend this, and give justification on why that should happen. Students, their bodies will come and say, look, this thing that you have made, we are happy with this, we are very happy with this, we are not so happy with this, and we believe you should do this. So all the stakeholders, when the governors were coming in, they are politicians. We are in a political dispensation. The federating units have to come aloud and say, look, presidency, we disagreed on account of ABC. They are politicians. That is why the noise was too much from that angle. It is not necessary even to make it to, when you take it to the public arena, if you like, the way that it happened, people talking without even studying the document. The most important thing is what the assembly is going to do. The assembly is going to ask for memorandum. There will be a public hearing. That will be after all the memoranda and the public health interactions, engagements, how the assembly will come up, review, and then look at the bill, see what must really be different, need to be changed. And then they go on with the process of lawmaking. And we have our representatives. Every state has its own, every local government. So we are all represented in our different ways. And therefore, that process, no matter what you say in the press, no matter how far it goes, it is the efforts that are done through that will, in the end, fly and every Nigerian citizens get what they ought to get from the process.
Doctor, with the stakeholders that you have mentioned, you talk about all the parts of the country to come in with their, let them be consulted, so to say, come in with their own proposal, what they want from this tax reform bill. Do you think if we begin to toe that line, are we going to get to the promised land eventually? Because it will be difficult to appease everybody.
No, it is lawmaking. It is provided in the process that after a bill is presented, after the reading first, second, third, and given to the committee, and then memorandum will be called, public will be allowed because it's a public issue. Whoever is a stakeholder will make an input. If you find it so happy, you just commend it and you leave it at that. If you have anything at all as a stakeholder, you now bring it to the notice of those who are responsible for making the law. And that is the National Assembly. And it is every segment. It has time limit. Like, okay, you don't do the first, second, and third reading at the same time and give committee and get memoranda. You don't do all at the same time. Already anybody that has interest and is serious about it, his memoranda or their memoranda is now ready. And they may have even already submitted it to the National Assembly. And the National Assembly will definitely do a public hearing. And once they fix the date and the hearing is called, during that hearing, those memorandum will be looked at and people will speak to them. And those who may oppose them will oppose them. And when they sit in their committee of the whole, then they are also advisors and other experts, they will come up to agree that whatever may have been submitted by A, O, B, O, C, the assemblies have come in, they will now agree because they have a common understanding. They are luckily for us, the committee that brought the bill has done a fantastic job. So I believe it is not going to take any time. It's part of the process. It will be passed. I'm sure it can go through.
All right.
It doesn't have a challenge because all those members are there. They are working together in different committees. They are from different states, different local governments. Whatever issues have been raised by the governors from whatever region or whatever state, the governors have got their members. They know what they can go and converse for. The memorandum that has been submitted luckily now is by all governors of the Federation. Not northern governors, not eastern, south, or northwest, southwest. No, it's the whole governors. So that common position, and nobody will come from those regions, from any region, and say to oppose this, what the governors have come together and accepted. So, and the members of the assembly, they are also from different places, but they are members of the National Assembly, working for the entire nation. And that is why when you select, you say there's a president of the Senate, a deputy Senate president, all the way down to other officers.
All right.
They are all good representation.
All right, Doctor, let's move on. Let's talk about the proposed reduction in income tax. How will it affect you as a businessman? Let's look at some of the nitty-gritties in that bill.
Positively, when the income tax is reduced, it will help the companies to breathe better. Today, when you earn 100 naira, for instance, about 30 goes to your staffs or those who help you make the money. Maybe 30, 35 will go to your bankers who lend you money to do the business. And if the whole rest is taken as tax, then where are you? That is why you could have earnings before interest and tax to be in billions. But by the time you pay bank interest and you pay your staffs, that you take away what goes to staff, and then you pay the tax, you find that you are left with nothing. So it is very little for survival. So a reduction in the tax, really it was too high. You have to encourage production by making sure people, after all the labor and effort, the investment, they're able to retain enough money to themselves, remain in business and to grow. Like now, what we found ourselves when the exchange rate went the way it did, and inflation also went sky high. And then we found ourselves that a person who hitherto, I'm from Kano, let me talk from a trading perspective. Right. A person who used to buy 100 trailers of Dangote sugar in a particular period is now not able to buy even 15 trucks of the same commodity. And you can imagine what happens. You have your warehouses. Now, if the commodity comes in, before it is offloaded from the truck, it is already going to some other place for distribution to those who have indicated interest and have been waiting for it. So these changes, shocks that keep coming. And that's why we echo the issue that when government is to effect any change, it must think of what will happen to stakeholders and arrange for the traditional arrangement, but above all, discuss with them and understand what could be the best of relief in the transitional arrangement. When that is done, definitely the country will be better for it.
Indeed, a very good one there, Doctor. Let's look at how this will impact investors' confidence. We've been discussing these tax reform bills for a very long time, and it does seem that we're beginning to get to that point where the agreement will be reached between the warring parties there. Do you think this in any way affect investors' confidence, those who are looking towards coming to Nigeria to invest? This debate back and forth, do you think it will slow down their interest in investing in Nigeria?
No, it will not. The thing is that they have seen the consciousness of the different publics in the country. The interest, like the one canvassed by the president of NACCIMA, coming up to say things on behalf of the segment that is not personal to him, is representative of NACCIMA. The members of NACCIMA cried out aloud through our platforms, and and that includes the manufacturers and the traders. The whole issue that a foreign investor is conscious of is to see whether the country, the person is taking all the money into a group that have informed persons and are taking or following the process of the law. They don't mind whatever discussions are going on. We actually watch the TV, CNN, other cable TV that show what is happening in Europe, what is happening in the United States, what is happening in Asia, among the political groups. And we see how things have been made, law-making process. Whoever is monitoring Nigeria would be happy that Nigerians are conscious of law-making processes, and they are also able to say, because that's the starting point. If you are not allowed to speak, if you are afraid of saying your opinion, then that is no country. That is a place to fear. In Nigeria, you are allowed to say your opinion, and when people jump the gun and begin talking, begin to talk in discordant truths, they are guided. There was, at the time of this tax reform, as if it was going to divide the country, as if it was anything that somebody really created to create havoc. But when you look at it as a professional, you look at it, you say, yes, it has a lot of good, and it has some not so good, and it has some fair things, and then you go and say it has some bad things. And you are talking about all of them. Whoever is abroad, they are looking at our cable network, they are hearing us, they are seeing it, because this modern way of communication has exposed whatever you are doing, even on your dining table, to the public. So they know, and this is going to give them an incentive. The way we are speaking, we are mentioning what worries them. We have a lot of foreign partners. We are discussing with them, and they know that we are also echoing their concerns. So it will continue to attract them. They will continue to be happy. Nigeria still remains, in spite of all odds, Nigeria remains the best place to come and do business. Nigeria, no doubt about it. And Kano is that most central place. So come to Kano and do business. But Nigeria remains the most attractive, peaceful. You are able to bring your money, you can take it away. Nobody really harasses anybody in Nigeria. We are the best. Until you don't know this much, until you go around other African countries and countries in Asia and Europe, then you come to understand that why people still come to Nigeria is because Nigeria is very, if you like, hospitable people, and very creative people, very hardworking people, very resilient. We have too many goods in our favor. So Nigeria will definitely be the better for it after all this.
That's a very sense of patriotism there from Dr. Ahmad there. Of course, a very interesting one there. Let's, as we begin to wrap up now, let's look at the issue around tax paying. I mean, the people are complaining that there is not, government is not doing enough in terms of providing basic social amenities, road, pipe-borne water, even the security, and so many. It's not, they say they are not encouraged by government to pay tax. What do you make of that? Is government doing enough to encourage people like you, who is a businessman, and other Nigerians to pay their tax promptly?
You see, I'm a businessman, and I know management is about choices. And you see what you have to look at it. Like today, the most fundamental issue for the government of the federation and at the state level and local government is to ensure safety of lives and property. It's about security in the first instance. And so whatever government has at its disposal, the first thing we want to see is that environment enthroned, that we can go out at night, we can enjoy our nightlife, we can travel at night or day to the country, we can also sleep in our homes with our even gates not quite closed, and sleep with the eyes closed, and we can. These are the fundamental issues that are the starting point. We need roads. Now, over the long period, because one of the things that has been lacking in this, our great country, I have been a member of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group for a very long time. We have been looking at different sectors and advising government. Government has taken effort to address infrastructure deficit. Options have been discussed on how to finance them, from build, own, operate, and transfer, to other issues of seeking a loan by government to do the things and to also make them semi-commercial, so that whatever is brought in, when government in the first instance commercialized, and it came in to also be engaged in partnering with the private sector, foreign and local, to fund development, like some of the things that we have already gotten, like the Lekki link in Lagos and others. These are the things that we expect government to do. Anybody who wakes up and say he expects government to provide health free, to provide logistics, movement, buses, all that free, to make all the roads required, to do no, that person is wishful thinking. No country will have that money. But when the government enthrones a suitable operating environment, and why I congratulate Nigerians always, that today we have as a Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Oduole, is a person who was the Secretary of PEVEC, the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, where she was subsequently as an advisor to the president for the same thing. Now she's holding, she's the head of our industry, trade and investment. And therefore, partnership, which we continue to seek between the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Minister of Finance and Economic Development, the Minister of Transportation, that is responsible for the laying of the rail, Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, and the other ministries that really have got some, Minister of Works, so to speak, that will be doing quite a number, Minister of Power in the same way, will be coming to work together to see what are the things that really government just need to provide enabling environment. There have been some efforts in the past, like when the NNPC was dismantled, and you have the KEDCO, and the electricity distribution company, you have the transmission company, you have all this spread across the country, but there were mistakes. It is normal to make mistakes. At this time, it's time to review them and see if they are not performing well, they are not really delivering. Government should be able to take actions and effect changes that will make the power to be supplied to be available, and also increase the transmission, improve the transmission. We have had a lot of collapse in the national grid recently.
Doctor, if you can
the last 2 months. So what is key and important in this sphere is that government, when it unbundled the NNPC I'm sorry, NEPA, so to speak. I said NNPC, that's talking about petrol. When it did on electricity, that is what happened. So those are the things that we expect will go. And also it did, like Dangote now. Dangote has come to make the difference. If Dangote refinery had not come into operation, we must thank the gentleman for what he has done, the elder statesman, the elders. Dangote has done us pride by really what he has done. That are the things that we expect government to do. Before, we had thought only government will do refinery. Now, private sector refinery has come in, and it is making the difference. So, all that we need from government.
Doctor,
Minister of Industry, Trade and Health,
Doctor,
the lady at the
helm
of
you are being political.
to be able to take ministerial communication and make sure that all the shortfall we have in infrastructure, that we continue looking at government and say, look, government has not delivered from our taxes. Taxes must be levied on companies, on individuals, for VAT and the rest. There must be taxes. We must have security, from soldiers that protect our territorial integrity, to the police for internal security, and to other issues that are fundamental. To get even information, government has to spend a lot of money. Because fighting against Boko Haram, for instance, It's not a fight that you see a person in uniform with the vehicle and no, it's intelligence. If the intelligence is gathered adequately, appropriately, and government must spend a lot of money to do that. If that is not done, definitely forget about fighting Boko Haram, because before you get to where they are, they have seen you coming. So they take cover. But if intelligence is gathered, then you know, you don't even have to fight them, perhaps coming into shade to bombard them. No, you pencil them out, go for their jugular, and before you know it, you get the right person in your net, and you make appropriate corrections, and the society becomes there for it. So it's a person who creates tax revenue and who is paying a huge amount as tax. I am very happy things are going so far.
Right.
In course of time, government broadens its wrong. The past is failure to capture appropriate taxes from the revenue because of the statistics and also the collection apparatus. I believe as taxpayers generally, those who say to you that they don't see it, perhaps they are not looking at the whole picture. If you look at the whole picture, don't expect that when you are going to have food on the table, that everything is about the gari or the rice or the millet, the corn. No, there are those things that go into the stew. And those things are very relevant, including the meat and the rest. So you have to look at the whole gamut. Everything has to be in certain proportion. And some of them cannot be adequate at some time. And so the choice also will be limited to available resources. Cut your quote according to, can you complete it according to your close, according to your side?
Thank you, Doctor. Doctor, you've spoken a whole lot. Some people would think that you are being political. That is a discussion for another day. We don't have enough time to go into that discussion again today. I must thank you, Dr. Ahmad Rabiu is the National Vice President of NACCIMA. He's also the MD of Dalas Inland Dry Port and, of course, the President Network for Practicing Non-Oil Exporters of Nigeria. He joins us all the way from Kano, the the Center of Commerce of Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time, Doctor.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so very much. God bless Nigeria.
All right. With that is a wrap on the show today. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akubu.